Hey, congratulations on having the best call of the postseason so far when Cody Ceci scored and you yelled, "Of all people."
Incredible.
I hear it's billboards up in Edmonton now with a picture of him with his Halloween costume on, of all people, ...
But you know what? Like,
Go Oilers.
so I'm an Oil man, as I know that you are as well, because you picked the Oilers to win the Cup. Great prediction on your part. Oilers fans don't do the like, how dare you joke about our player thing, unless it's somebody saying Evan Bouchard is bad. Like, because Evan Bouchard is bad defensively, but when people say Evan Bouchard is bad, then the teeth come out and they get mad. If you say like Cody Ceci, what's that guy doing? Oilers fans generally are like, we don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, Canadian fan bases really beat up on stay-home, low-point-producing defensemen. They just – who was the Maple Leaf guy? I'm just drawing a blank. I was just about to say they killed him for the last 3-4 years. And those are the kind of guys they just don't like, you know, and they just beat on them all day long. So you can say whatever you want about those kinds of stay-home defensemen who have low point totals. They have no problem you giving it to them.
Well, I mean, we thrive on chaos, named what chaos? Like, Cody Ceci is a chaotic person. I'm so glad that he exists. He's not amazing defensively, and when he tries to contribute offensively, boy, look out, nobody knows where that puck is going. But, like, I root for him just because I like that he exists. So I'm very happy.
And yeah, and I'm bullish on those kinds of guys. I always think they're going to do something because he comes down the wall hard, that right-handed shot guy who just comes down the wall and tries to pinch and keep the puck in, and then he's retreating the other way. And, yeah, I can't believe I can't think of the Maple Leaf guy. You guys got to know him. He was there the last couple of years, and they beat on him all the time out there in Toronto.
No.
I might be thinking of Cody Ceci, but there's another guy just like him. I was thinking that too. I think I'm thinking Cody Ceci, but there was somebody else who was there like the last.
Klingberg. Klingberg got a lot of heat.
He's too soft.
I mean, it's not Riley.
No,
it's obviously not Riley. It's not Labushkin. He just got there.
Yeah, not Bam.
McCabe.
He's too terrible. No, not McCabe. He's not that good.
Yeah,
not that good.
I know. I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his. Can't identify.
Andrew Alberts was too far ago, but he was a Canuck, I think. And
Andrew Alberts was a Canuck. Canadian. Hey, check this out. Andrew Alberts went to Boston College.
Yes, he did. And if you didn't know, Zach Hyman went to Michigan. If you weren't aware of that.
Oh man, so I said on yesterday's show I yelled at you during the game. So famously, I was not worried about the Oilers in this series. Was always very cool, calm, and collected. But when it was still scoreless in the second period, I knew that I was finally worried and panicking about the game because you said something to the effect of like Hyman and Quinn Hughes, couple of former Michigan Wolverines, and I was like, God fucking damn it, somebody score a goal. I don't want to hear about college hockey right now.
That's what you needed. That's what you need. Well, I had Phil Giuseppe in the holster because he played 3 years with Zach Hyman. So I had that in the holster, never brought it out and shot it, but it was ready. Giuseppe and Hyman were teammates for 3 years.
Can you tell me where I went to college by me giving you one name? Let's see if you can do this. All right?
I'll try because I don't know where you went to college.
Jamie Fritsch.
Oh, no. Just going to come right out and say no.
Kevin Regan.
Still no.
James Van
Riemsdyk. Must be before my time. Oh, UNH, of course.
Yeah.
I called his games, and maybe I called the other fellows' names too, but I can't remember. But yeah, I had a Manchester, New Hampshire regional. In fact, I think it was BU's national championship year, somewhere around there that I had one of Reamer's games in college.
How has the experience been, like, getting into play-by-play, obviously with college hockey on ESPN, but now NHL as well in the last few years? Like, you were the desk anchor for a long time, and then, like, doing play-by-play for hockey just seems like the hardest thing in the world. So, I mean, I give you a million times over the credit for doing that and being kind of like, it seemed like you were kind of thrown into it. Did you feel that way?
No, I mean, I grew up with the sport. I grew up with the sport, listening to the game on the radio. My mom and dad grew up in South Boston, but they raised me out near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania always. So we would listen to games on the radio because, you know, there were 3 Bruins games on a year on CBS, and so I listened to a lot of games with my dad on the radio. I was on his hip all the time, so I kind of listened to it. I knew the game, grew up with the game. And then after we lost hockey in 2004, ESPN, NHL hockey, it was like 2 years later, 2006, I went to our bosses and said, hey, do you mind if I call one of these NCAA regional games? And I'll save you the money. You don't have to pay me extra. It's already my contract's just an employee contract. I can drive to the games. Or 2 of them were always in New England. They say, yeah, go ahead, have at her. So I started doing it in 2006 with that long-term do play-by-play. That was always my dream. That's what I envisioned myself in high school and college. I turned the sound down on the television and do play-by-play into my tape recorder in high school. Girls loved me because doing stuff like that. And so that's how I always looked at myself. But then I kind of got married young. The career started as a sports anchor on Cape Cod, got married young, had kids young. So at that point, you can't just say, I'm gonna head down to single A baseball down there in Greenville, South Carolina, and start doing play-by-play. You can't do that. I got 2 kids running around, and so you just kind of try to stay employed and look for the next job. And so, so in the end, it took a while, but this is where I always wanted to be.
Some updates on John's looks per the chat. Somebody said you are mothering in that tank. That's a compliment. Another person said, Butchie,
Okay.
You're ripped up like a bad, in parentheses, college hockey report card. So great job. The chat's loving you. How could they not?
Damn.
What do you think of this postseason so far? A very crazy regular season. And in the end, the 4 teams that are left all kind of make sense.
They do, yeah. I thought the first round, the play wasn't great. I don't know. I just wasn't blown away. We didn't really have a lot of overtimes or multiple overtimes like some of those nights in the first round. We had like 3 going on in one night. So I thought it started off kind of slowly, but you're right. It's been very methodical. It's been very chalk-like. And so as a result, here we are. Yeah, I could see, these 4 teams. I'm sure multiple people picked them to win the Stanley Cup before this, before the playoffs started. We do our predictions for ESPN.com, a bunch of us. Emily Kaplan hasn't missed a series yet. She's undefeated.
What?
I mean, undefeated. She hasn't missed one yet. And she's got the Rangers and Dallas in this next round, if you're wondering. So, yeah, and I know I'm doing pretty well. I think I've missed like 3, but she hasn't missed one yet. Because, again, there haven't been that many crazy upsets.
You know what? It's funny. We used her as the example of a thing that people do this time of year is they screenshot the ESPN staff predictions for series. And when anything is wrong, they cross it out and they're like, ooh, nice fucking try. And I gave the example of like, do you think Emily Kaplan is fucking like losing sleep over, oh no, I had Rangers in 6 and like they lost in 7. She has to do 44 things for her fucking job. This was just one of them. And also, like,
I know.
It would be lame if everybody was right about everything. But I now feel bad that the example I gave of somebody potentially being wrong is the only person who has been right the entire time. Shouts out Emily.
Yeah, there's no upside to doing that, like you said. I mean, when we do games, especially during the regular season, we're the enemy every time we walk into an arena because their normal broadcasters aren't doing the game. So everybody hates us. Everybody hates me. And so that's just what we're kind of used to. So why they make us do predictions? Because, when we watch College Game Day, Kirk Herbstreit doesn't do predictions for games he does. He passes out of the, journalistic integrity. But for us, Emily, Ray, they call these games and, hey, pick them. Who's going to win, and how many? And I don't know if it really serves them any good.
Who do you think the most chaotic cup winner would be for these 4 remaining teams? We kind of went through this a bit yesterday, but like which team winning would cause the most chaos?
I think it's still Edmonton because now they would be considered the biggest underdog, and McDavid finally gets the cup. And I've had this vision of him win it in Madison Square Garden. Like to me, that's the ultimate like dramatic play is for McDavid to finally win the cup and to do it in New York City, the media capital of the world, so it gets as much attention as possible. And that's just for the sport and for him and for the story. That's how I kind of envision it. But I think right now they would cause. I think Dallas is like probably the most boring pick because people think they're going to win, and they probably maybe have the least charisma right now. Florida with Tkachuk, he gives them so much personality, and a Stanley Cup in Florida again, another one with them and Tampa Bay just winning 2, and then New York. Obviously, it's been a while. We have ESPN. We have this E60 on their 30th anniversary of their last cup, and that would be good timing for them. But New York's always going to bring a lot of juice and a lot of energy to it. So yeah, they all have their own storylines, and it's nice that like I said, whether they haven't won one in a while, or they've never won one, or McDavid's never won one. There's something. Whoever wins it's going to be pretty cool for their fan base and for their fans.
I think it's a very good snapshot of it, and I think we all agree that Edmonton would be the most chaotic, and that Dallas, because I've gone from loving how adult Dallas is to hating that everyone understands that Dallas is adult, because then it's just not as fun anymore. But now that you got even more of the kids playing well, and that they're kind of doing it without Joe Pavelski, I can talk myself into it being a little more all over the place, and there being less structure there.
And you mentioned like Dallas having the least amount of charisma, and I think that's a very appropriate way of describing them. But I also kind of love that, like in their workman kind of aspect. And it seems perfect that Jamie Benn is the captain of that team, because he has like zero charisma, at least on camera. You put a microphone in front of that guy and you will just think that he hates his entire life. So I find that endearing, like as an encapsulation of the Dallas Stars.
Sean,
I agree.
Do you have all three of these things ready for? Okay, we're going to do a very fun exercise. We're going to look at our 10 best players remaining in the series, just to see what we can glean and how many great players are left for each team. Let's go with Pete's first, if you don't mind.
I'm going to go
Pete,
just
give it
straight
to
down.
us.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a lot more New York Rangers than I thought. My bottom three New York Rangers: Mika Zibanejad, Adam Fox, Igor Shesterkin. Then heading into Wyatt Johnson, Matthew Tkachuk, Miro Heiskanen, Artemi Panarin, Alexander Barkov, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid.
Are you seeing what my interesting observation was?
Oh my God. Sean put up mine.
Exact 10 players.
We have the exact same 10 players.
Wow.
And so I go McDavid,
nice
Draisaitl.
graphics.
What's that?
Those are nice graphics. Those are sharp.
That's all
our guy,
Sean, man.
Sean.
Sean DePaz. We call him Hookah Pekka Luukkonen because he's always smoking that pipe. That's the first time we've ever said that before. All right. McDavid, Draisaitl, Panarin, Fox, Barkov, Shesterkin, Wyatt Johnston, Heiskanen, Tkachuk, Zibanejad. Yeah, Pete, we have the exact same 10 players. So what we glean there is 4 players from the Rangers and then 2 from everybody else. When we were talking about the Eastern Conference, Pete, I said, now I have them a lot more in this series. And you were like, yeah, so fucking weird. Let's look at Buccigross's. He's got, all right. So this is the first list that we have that does not have 4 Rangers. He goes McDavid, Draisaitl, Barkov, Tkachuk, Hintz, Adam Fox, Miro Heiskanen, Gus Forsling. I love the inclusion there.
Yeah.
Shesterkin, and the only one of the 3 of us that has Zach Hyman. Give us some thoughts on that rundown, Bucci.
Well, I think we both agreed 1-2. Barkov just had the best series of his career. He's really changed. I've been pretty constructively critical about him in the past, how he's been a non-factor in playoff games. In the first round, I saw a little more forceful guy, and then against the Bruins, he seemed to enjoy the chaos and enjoy the battle, and now that makes him a completely different level kind of a player. So that's why I kind of shoved him up there. And Hintz, if healthy, is a 200-foot monster. He kind of like Barkov, a little more flash. He'll score more goals too. He's a 30-goal scorer. Barkov doesn't score as many goals as he used to. I think he's really focusing on defense. So he's big. And I think Heiskanen and Forsling are so close together. In fact, if it was in the salary cap world, I would take Forsling over Heiskanen because he saves you so much money. He gives you another $5 million player that you can take, and they're so close. Heiskanen a little more offense, but Forsling's right there with him. And Adam Fox is just an absolute genius playing hockey. He's unbelievable. To me, he drives that whole team. He's their most important player. I really do think that. And Hyman, he leads the league in goals. He's been a playoff monster since he got to Edmonton. Just stupid offensive numbers, Gretzky-like in terms of scoring goals. So it's the most important thing in hockey is to score goals. You can't win a game without one. So that's why I figure you got to have the goal scorer in there, at least at 10.
And for somebody who smiles as much as he does, we are seeing a lot more of the sandpaper, and that the other things that would accompany being a net front guy, like there are net front guys who I'm thinking of, like Swedish guys like Louis Eriksson, who were great in front of the net, but they weren't there. They were there more for finesse and tipping pucks and everything. Hyman is a little more of the get in front of the net, piss off the goaltender, but you don't always see the rest of like fucking with defensemen and getting everybody mad. The Vancouver series, even like the end of the Kings series, he was like, "This is what I'm here to do." And I bet he does that a ton against Dallas.
Well, I also bet in the over the course of a playoff run, like the onus is on the other team too to get him out of that area because they know that's where they're going to score a bunch of goals. I'm very glad that at least one of us included Rope Hintz in that list because at his best, and I really hope that he's in the series, he is one of the most exciting players in the entire league. He may not be on like a McKinnon, McDavid, like when he gets a full head of steam kind of like going down the ice.
Right.
But he is in like the next tier below, I think. And you can kind of see the wheels spinning and you're like, oh shit, he's going and it's going to be a problem. So I really hope we get to see some of that in this series, especially going up against McDavid on the other side.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have a vote for all the awards, that they give out every year, he's been my number one Selkie guy for 2 straight years.
Wow. I mean, another thing that I'd like to take away from this is all 3 of us had McDavid and Draisaitl 1-2, which I would expect. If this were basketball, you have the 2 best players in the series, you should win. If it's baseball, if you have the 2 best starting pitchers or whatever, you should win. Is that reason enough that I know a lot of the models favor the Oilers? We're kind of leaning stars in this series. I don't know about you. I know that you have the Oilers to win the cup, but should having the 2 best players by kind of a lot be reason enough for the Oilers to win?
Yeah, not really. It's only 2 out of 20 guys who dress, and that's really just not enough in this sport. I actually think Dallas will probably win too, as it's turned out. When you look at their depth and how Johnston has really kind of emerged as like an adult playing playoff hockey now. And you mentioned they haven't gotten much out of Pavelski. He's been about a half step behind. This series will be tough. Edmonton plays really fast. He's going to have a hard time keeping up. So it'll probably be power play and tips for him primarily. But I'd be curious to see how Peter DeBoer, deals with that and how he's going to try to match up because Draisaitl is going right now and McDavid is going. He looked like under the weather maybe there in Game 7. I don't know if he had the flu or something, but he wasn't quite his best. But, they can really skate. And that's going to be an issue. And that's Jason Robertson too. He can get lost in a fast speed game too. He's not a burner. So those kind of guys can get lost a little bit. That's why Hintz is so important. If they don't have Hintz and they have no one to check Draisaitl or McDavid and Edmonton get those guys out there in some matchups, they could pop a few in. I just don't trust Stuart Skinner to play 902 goaltending, which is what they're probably going to need, 905. He's been a sub 900 guy the last 2 years, and you do that, they got no chance. You can't win that way.
Breaks my heart. I'm such an oil man. I need Stu to be something, but you're so right. And I don't know if there'll be a point at this series, even if he gets off to a good start, where you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop there, and that's just not something that Dallas has on their end. Like if Ottinger has a bad couple of games, that he's Jake Ottinger and that he'll probably bounce back. If like after even that bad goal in Game 2, I want to say for that Skinner allowed, you're like, you just got to get this guy out of the series. But who knows? Maybe he returns to what he was in the regular season.
Before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, what did you think of Morgan Geekie season?
Really? I'll tell you, and I was really impressed in the playoffs. I didn't think he had that in him. He had a little bit more jam than I thought. Still pedestrian numbers, can't be your number one center, probably a third-line guy. But you win. It's a beautiful day here in Plymouth, Pete. You want to play Pine Hills anytime, you let me know, and I owe you 18. You could even bring a friend, too, like the guy to your right, if you want.
I'd caddy.
Oh, I would love that. That would be
I know
incredible.
that sounds like a disrespectful thing, but like whenever I go golfing with friends, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sad. Let me stay. I'm not good at golfing. And they're like, DJ, you're not fucking good at anything. Relax. We're not upset by this.
The worst thing to be is the person who is like nervous about ruining somebody else's golf round by like not being great at golf.
Because if the other, but if the person that I'm golfing with is like mad that I'm not good enough, I know that they're being an asshole and like it reflects poorly on them. But in my experience, when people golf, they're assholes. The reason I don't golf, John, is because I'll go golfing with people. They'll like slice one into the woods and they'll be like, "Ugh." And I'm like, you're not fucking good at it. What did you expect to happen? Yeah. Golfing is the one area where people get this inflated sense of I'm supposed to be good at this. It's fucking hard, man. Like I bet do you have a good attitude out there? I bet you do.
I have a good attitude until like I just can't string anything together. And then I'm like, why am I even here? But I don't get like mad. I'm just like I should not play this game.
I rollerblade instead. You want to come rollerblading with me, John?
I love the rollerblade. Like we go around Castle Island a few times.
Oh,
yes. Buddy, that's what I do.
I'll meet you for Sullivan's afterwards.
That's what I did in the 90s. But yeah, so but you can come down to Plymouth too. Like I used to be really good at golf. Now I'm just slightly okay. But you can just come to Cart and we'll play music and you can just caddy. Just rake the bunkers for us and take out the pin and just drink White Claws all day and high noons or whatever that is you drink.
Can I wear the vest?
Yeah, wear the vest.
Wear the white jumper, the full white jumper.
The full white jumper, Augusta style.
Yeah,
I would low key. I would be mothering. I would be serving. You know what? I think this would be very good. Last question.
This sounds like a What Chaos episode. We should string it together. Do some editing.
So like we discussed what content we're gonna do in the summer, and I candidly told Pete the other day, I was like, at some point, I need like months to fucking turn my brain off. We're gonna do fucking summer golfing videos with John Buccigross. That'd be amazing. Last question: do you say scoreless?
I'm not sure. I don't say complete game shutout because a shutout is a complete game. There's no need to say complete game shutout. So just say shutout. But do I say scoreless? I probably have. Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm above that.
It's fine. You're not below that. No one's above
or next to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Scoreless tie. Yeah.
Can you say? Can you use some of our terminology when you do the games though? Like if. So you say Draisaitl from his office, which is basically like south of the arena. If Hyman scores, can you say Hyman from the asshole? Because that's where we say he scores. He scores goals from the goaltender's asshole.
Yeah, if you feed me some material, I will definitely get it in.
Perfect.
I may have to say sphincter.
Say from the. That's okay. That's okay. Subban talks about his penis half the time and pretends he's not. So you can. You could say from the wherever you want. We'll know what you're talking about.
We all silly like the mayor.